you've been doing this for so long. What would you say is like the most important thing to remember? He goes, two things. He was super prepared. He knew he's had this like rehearsed. He goes, two things. Number one, always do something that keeps the lights on. And that way you can do the fun stuff for profit. So that even if you don't make profit, you still had fun and your lights are still on. But that thing that you have to do that you may not like to do, but you have to do keeps the lights on. That's number one. He said, number two, everybody, your friends, your family, your customers, anybody, even people on the internet, trolls, everyone in the world will tell you how to run your business, tell you ideas and things, ways they think you should run it better than you're currently doing. But remember, you own the business for a reason, and they don't own a business for a reason.
Yep.
So listen, but just remember that there's a reason why you're doing it. Follow your heart, not just necessarily the advice, and don't take everything to heart. I think you can hear 100 compliments from people around the business telling you how wonderful things are, but it only takes like one negative comment and you're questioning your whole life.
Yep.
Right. So careful. Don't let those things get you down.
All right. Welcome to the mobile podcast trailer. I am Jesse, and I am joined today by my good friend, Thomas Porter. And he is the owner of many things, and that'll actually be my first question. But most notably, Porter Barnwood. And would you say most newly?
Sure.
The most recent endeavor is the Coffee Builders, which I would say is gaining quite a bit of popularity.
A little bit of traction these days, yeah.
Yeah. I remember when this little building out here was our office, where we did work and life, and now you see lots of people every day. How many people are you seeing at the Coffee Builders
Oh man,
on a day-to-day basis?
usually anywhere from 200 to 600 people a day. I know it moves through there. The coffee shop gets a lot of people through there,
Which then gets a lot of eyes on Porter Barnwood.
Yeah.
Do you see an uptick?
Yeah. I mean, we can dive into all of that too. There's a lot to it. Getting foot traffic in here is one of like the main things you want to try to get when you're advertising, right? And the coffee shop has given us a lot of foot traffic. It's not always people that are going to buy, but I don't think that's necessarily the end game. You really want that name recognition, and you want them to be your verbal, lead later on. They're going to refer some friend right away. So yeah, we're creating a coffee apostles for sure, but we're working on the woodworking side of things too.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it kind of leads into kind of where we're going to start. That was a little bit of pre-show chatter, but
should we tell them first? For those who don't know, Jesse is a good friend of mine and was with me in the beginning of Porter Barnwood, which we'll talk about in a minute. And you were an integral part in many years of seeing this thing come to fruition. So thank you for that. So glad to be here today doing this.
Well,
This is so cool.
So I'll say this. You are, and this will be a compliment. You are one of the most critical.
This will be a compliment, just for those of you who are about to question what I'm about to say.
Well,
I mean this in a good way.
Yeah. So you are one of the most critical people in my creative space you have told me when I'm not good, and you have told me when I do well, and it pushes me. And to be honest with you, having you in this space is a bit nerve-wracking to me because I want it to be cool for you. I want you to have a good experience. I want it to be fun and entertaining, but I also want it to be like something that you look at and go, yeah, this can work. And which you have told me already, which when you said, wow, what a genius idea.
It was a good idea.
To me, I was blown away. Like that kind of changed my thought process of this because I've had several friends tell me that this is a good idea that are out of state. And friends in state think it's a good idea too, but like you were one of the people that I would look at and go, all right, if what is he gonna say about it?
I would tell you.
And I know, I
I
know.
would tell you.
And with all this, there's an element of like when I told you last, like, I was gonna call you to ask you something, like, I was gonna call you, but, like, I was just too nervous to do it
Oh,
because, um, I I want it to be a fun thing, and
yeah.
I know that this is the beginning stages of it, but, like, I want this to be a cool experience for people, and you're kind of one of those people in my life where I go, "Alright, is this gonna work well for him?" Not to, try to set you up as a person to use it, but, like, just will it be a cool experience for you? And because you're critical eye, because you are an artist, because you know how all of this stuff works, it's you were a big part of me going, "Do I tell him about it? Do I
Thank you,
do I
Darius.
do I interview him?" And really, like, this is a test, like,
Yeah.
this is a constant test of, like, okay, where can we improve? Where can we get better? And that's, I have to remember that because we are not always ready right when things go.
I'm thankful for the people that made me nervous too. I know a lot of people don't like to have no in their life. They don't like to have that iron sharpen iron
Mhm.
thing. I like it. I don't like to be in a room where everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, that's great. That's cool." It's just, "Yeah, you should do that. You should." Or as a business owner, I had two. Sorry if I'm taking you off track a little bit,
No,
but
you're fine.
there was a really cool guy named Marty who was at Clyde's Hardware here in town, and he had been around in the business for so long. I remember when I asked him one time when I was still new at this, "Hey, do you have any kind of advice for me as a new business owner? What you've been doing this for so long. What would you say is like the most important thing to remember?" He goes, two things. He was super prepared. He knew he's had this like rehearsed. He goes, two things. Number one, always do something that keeps the lights on. And that way you can do the fun stuff for profit. So that even if you don't make profit, you still had fun and your lights are still on. But that thing that you have to do that you may not like to do, but you have to do keeps the lights on. That's number one. He said number two, everybody, your friends, your family, your customers, anybody, even people on the internet trolls, everyone in the world will tell you how to run your business, tell you ideas and things, ways they think you should run it better than you're currently doing. But remember, you own the business for a reason, and they don't own a business for a reason.
Yep.
So listen, but just remember that there's a reason why you're doing it. Follow your heart, not just necessarily the advice, and don't take everything to heart. I think you can hear 100 compliments from people around the business telling you how wonderful things are, but it only takes like one negative comment, and you're questioning your whole life,
Yep.
right? So careful. Don't let those things get you down.
Yeah.
And otherwise, yeah, let's dive in.
Let's
Let's
not
do this. This is fun.
I'm
This is
I was
such a
curious.
curious space, people.
I was curious how Thomas was looking on camera because I want him to look awesome.
Probably look. I'm glad you have a wide frame setup here because I think I was born 16:9. Um,
Not for vertical video.
no, I'm not made for vertical video. I'm made for a 16:9 frame. So yeah, let's do. Sorry for taking up the majority of the frame, Jesse.
I love well, what's funny is you're at 35 millimeters
Uh huh.
right now on that, and this one's a 28.
Okay,
So I'm
that's good.
it
I might need a little fisheye to make myself
yeah,
look
yeah.
like a
I can
carnival
pull it
mutant.
out, but
Yeah.
then you're gonna see where the wall ends. All right, so you are a serial entrepreneur.
Hmm.
How many businesses have you started? And hold on. What would you say is the most fun, and which one is most profitable?
Um. Okay. So I've started a lot of different types of businesses over the years. Currently, I'm operating in five.
Okay,
Uh, soon to be more, but five different entities with different flows.
okay,
The biggest, the one that is our main, is Porter Barnwood. We are a reclaimed wood material supplier and a mill workshop. So we manufacture things out of wood and put together these really custom projects. We also supply live edge slabs, reclaimed wood, and some select hardwoods to different people all over the country, architects, designers, builders, and the general public. People come into us for something as simple as a mantle over the fireplace, and then they also come in for an entire restaurant. So we're doing restaurants and millwork packages for people all over the country,
Right.
primarily in Arizona, but we've wrapped up several out of state over the last couple of years. Millions of dollars of projects all over the country. So really cool stuff. Um, Always kind of what's in and exciting and different. And so what's neat about Porter Barnwood is we're very malleable, and so it keeps us relevant. We get a little pigeonholed with the name, which is my fault. I created Porter Barnwood with Barnwood in the name. We don't always do Barnwood, but we are the largest supplier of reclaimed wood in Arizona, so it's fitting. The second is Porter Ironworks, because I was feeling extra generic with Porter Barnwood, and I needed a Porter Ironworks. So I bought a blacksmith shop of an older gentleman that had a property next to ours. It was connected with ours, and we were his largest customer. It was an iron shop, and he used to do a lot of blacksmithing around town for fancy homes and light fixtures and chandeliers and candelabra stuff and fences, gates. So the iron shop is part of Porter Barnwood. It is an integral part because a lot of our tables might have a metal base, or we might be doing ironwork around a perimeter, like a fence or something. We might have wood in it. The sliding barn doors, we make our own hardware. So that iron shop was an integral part of Porter Barnwood. One of the later ones that I did was called Our Block Co., like OUR, Our Block Co. And we manufacture our own line of breeze blocks. And that came as a result of working with Will
Yep.
Douglas. He was a shop
I should
manager of mine.
interview him too.
You should definitely go and check
Yeah.
him out too.
I haven't been to his coffee shop either.
It's very good. It's very good. I think he and I both have two of the coolest coffee shops in Arizona, but it might be.
Well, now that I've
biased.
tried yours, now I need to try his.
It's good.
I've actually stayed away from both.
Yeah. It can get expensive because it's really good and addictive. So, we'll come in and we'll be your caffeine pushing, dealers over here.
Yeah.
So,
We're here.
so yeah, I started our block co as a way to do these concrete breeze blocks, which I love breeze blocks, modern architecture, and it seemed like such a cool fit with some of the modern things we were doing. So we were casting concrete and doing these really neat blocks, and that has been very cool. It's slowly building, but people love it. We ship more blocks out of state than in state, which has been really cool. Um, Also, then I had this building. That used to be our little showroom up in the front when we were building my big building. And it was sitting with a bunch of customer stuff. And I thought, man, I'm doing so many restaurants. I should build my own coffee shop. Then I don't have to go anywhere for lunch. I can get coffee in the morning, and I can have a place that's active and bringing people in and making money while it's doing it. And also, I think everyone romanticizes the idea of a coffee shop, but I had built so many restaurants for other people. I thought I could do this.
Yeah.
So that one was neat because we went into a space with no debt. I mean, we had no lease necessary. I'm my own landlord, so at that point, it was kind of negotiate what you feel like. We had no debts. All of the wood and everything that was put in there was a piece of the showroom, so we had
Right.
no TI bill. And then I basically bought all the equipment outright, so all I had to focus on was the people and the quality of the ingredients. And you can tell when you go in that that's the way it feels. So it started out profitable, which is really cool. That was different. And then most recently, I actually joined in with a person just outside of Nashville. I built a recording studio. So I have teamed up with Eric Uglum at New Wine Studios in Watertown, Tennessee, and built out a studio there. It's really cool. Very talented engineer, and the studio is amazing. So branched out in a very different direction and a completely different state, which should be fun. But I love music. It's
I
always
think
been
it's just your ploy to get a place there.
to find a way to get to Nashville every now and then. That certainly is the case. I've been there, I don't know, 8 or 9 times this year, and I'm rather enjoying it.
I love. We were there in July, Jocelyn and I, and man, it's just so cool. I got in trouble for parking backwards in
Oh,
Franklin.
how dare you?
Apparently, if you reverse into a parking spot in Tennessee, um,
Mhm.
that is against the rules.
Wow. All
I
right.
had no idea, but I hadn't been there very often, so at least not driven around.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you were ticketed for being too forward.
Yes. I was warned.
Yeah,
I was warned. Thankfully, the police officer was nice
that's
and did
good.
not ticket me. Um, so a lot so you said that the studio is kind of in a wildly different direction, which I disagree
Okay.
with you because of how involved you are in music already. So, like, it didn't really seem like too far of a stretch, at least to me, from, from the outside looking in. It just was like, "Oh, yeah, why wouldn't he?"
Mhm.
The only thing that I would say is but it also makes sense to me too, is that you did it in Nashville, why not here? But again, your love of Nashville and my love of Nashville makes sense.
That and I actually so the people that you have working for you or the people you have working with you, your partners in business are just as, if not more important, probably more important for sure than your location. And I know that in the case of the studio, Eric is stellar. He's a killer engineer. He's an incredible person, just in general, very talented.
Yeah,
And I don't know that I would want to do a studio with just anybody. And I
right.
mean, putting one here in Arizona, obviously, we don't have the density of musicians that they do in Nashville by any means,
Not even
or
close.
the music industry in general, like they do
Right.
there. And it's competitive there. But I felt like we could bring something to the mix design wise and like sound wise that is still missing, believe it or not. Like we could kick it up a notch for that size studio and really pull off something that people haven't seen. Because the recording studio industry has been hit really hard.
Right.
Over the years, a lot of the bigger studios have closed because everyone's doing stuff, in house in very small little Pro Tool setups at home. But there's a magic somewhere in between the two where when you get a really great engineer who has a cool setup, good gear, you
Yeah.
know, and then you walk into a space that feels cool. It kinda elevates you. It's kinda like dressing up and going out to a really fancy dinner, you know?
You feel different.
Yeah, they cook chicken, so does McDonald's, questionably, but you
It
don't
might not be
feel
chicken.
yeah, it might not be chicken or it might be some form of chicken, but, the difference between the 2, you're purposefully going out to do something that's really, you know, good,
Yeah.
really clean, really authentic, and so giving people a space where they feel more creative, they feel, uh, taken care of, and they feel different, it will become a part of the music they make in there,
Yeah.
and so that was kind of the idea behind that one, and I also just really had to get it out of my system.
Well, yeah.
So, how
Yeah.
creatives have that, you have this idea that you have to get out. It's
Yeah.
like, it has to come out somehow.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna skip ahead because I sent Thomas some questions, but I'm
Oh,
going
you
to
said which is most profitable. I gotta finish that
Oh,
sentence,
yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you do have to finish that one.
So
We're still on question number 1.
so here's the problem. Yeah, sorry. The problem with profitable, it is completely subjective. Over the years, I've looked at my models for how business is supposed to be profitable, and I've realized that there are other factors that play into it. Like for instance, Porter Barnwood and this place that we have here is profitable, but we are currently paying down our SBA loan for the property itself. So the property is making money while Porter Barnwood is paying all the taxes and the lease payments and everything, which makes it difficult for the business. So
Right.
from a business standpoint, sometimes it can get really tough because man, I got all these bills to pay. But then when you look at, okay, I bought this property back in such and such a time, and now that property is accruing value, I can see a long game. So my long game profit having this property is probably the smartest thing we ever did.
Right.
The businesses, they ebb and flow, and it just depends. The restaurant is actually the least profitable, surprisingly enough. Industry standard is somewhere between 4 to 8%,
Right.
which sucks. When you have I mean, you could do $1 million business, and at the end of the year, if you end up with $40,000 worth of profit, you go, "Mhm, this kind of hurt." Why? But
Why did I have a $1,000,000 run rate with, just 40 grand
right.
of
So
profit?
it's tricky, understanding profit and which one is more. I would say of all the things I've ever done that was most profitable was actually when I was a massage therapist before any of this, because I had a service and I had just me, right? And so I was
But then there's
I was
cap.
selling my time.
Yeah.
And yeah, even though the profit was there because I had a really simple lease structure. I had very simple materials. I was selling my own talent or my own knowledge in the craft at the time. And so yeah, it was like straight up money,
Yeah.
just service time. But you're right, it's very limited as to what you
'Cause there comes a point where you can only charge so much.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and if you're sick or you're hurt or anything, you're out of luck.
yeah.
So,
Um, well, I want to there was a question that I want to okay. So we're gonna skip ahead
okay.
to question
Fast
number
forward.
6. Um,
Wow, you skipped a lot.
I yeah,
Go for it.
I skipped 2 through 5.
Of 6. He's like, "You've talked so much time."
Of 7. No, we're good. What you just brought up a point that I want to talk about, which is like when you started any of the businesses that you have, were you solving a problem or scratching a creative itch?
Ah, I see why you jumped to this question. Yes. The
The answer is
the answer is yes. I think all of us have a creative itch, but entrepreneurs have this way of developing lots of itches, right? So you
yeah,
have this need, and you see this need that someone else doesn't. And you're like, "Why? Why hasn't someone addressed this yet? Why haven't they taken care of this? There's got to be a reason why no one's ever done this." And then you realize it's just cuz they didn't have the means to do it, or they just felt like not executing. There are a million ideas. Idea people are not that hard to find.
right,
Lots of people have ideas, but execution people are hard to find. And that's where the entrepreneurs come in, right? They see, oh, this area doesn't have edible flowers in that region. I need to create an edible flower business so that they can go in and use these for decorations for bars and cocktails, or the microgreens market type of thing, or barnwood. For us, there wasn't a whole lot of barnwood competition when I very first started. So it's like, man, I would really like to work with this. How can I do this?
yeah.
So, yeah, we kind of create our own itches by just seeing this void that we need to fill
And do you think that you also create your own problems?
every day. Every day in so many ways. Um, I think in general, I love the idea of problem solving. I love being able to figure out a puzzle, and that's always a part of your brain. You're like,
Right,
how can I fix a using tool this? And you're just always trying to figure out a way to fix stuff. Um, some of it's fun. Some of it you realize, oh, why did I get myself into this?
right,
But yeah, I have different things that I've wanted to do over the years, and sometimes I'll back burner them. I love music, like you had mentioned earlier. So one of the hardest things as a business owner was finding time to get music here. And
right,
you were here when I had my bluegrass festivals, right?
right, yeah,
So I love bluegrass, and I would hire these bands and bring in, 40, $50,000 worth of entertainment
right.
to a bluegrass festival I lost money at just so I could go to a bluegrass festival.
I was always so confused.
Yeah, so was I. So sometimes it was just about trying to get the experience, but figure out a way to bring it to me rather than have to go to it. We had Bob Gurr here twice.
Yeah,
Bob Gurr, for those of you who don't know, is a legendary Disney Imagineer. He walked with Walt. I love Disney, like early
yes,
Disney,
you
Walt Disney. Love that stuff. Um, and it was so cool to get to meet Bob Gurr and listen to him, hear him talk about working with Walt Disney, designing the monorail and Autopia and everything, because I'm kind of that engineer brain when I go to Disneyland, and I look at how the ride operates and how all the wheels are connected, or the dimensions that they use for the buildings, or perspective and all sorts of things I'm looking at in the park that no everyone else is kind of skipping over.
yep,
And Bob was here to like talk about those things, and it was so cool. We got to call him up, hire him, fly him out here, and then put together an event so that I could listen to him. But then I could bring everybody in else with me,
yep,
and along for the ride. So instead of just getting to experience the music myself, I got to bring all my friends with me.
yeah.
And then same thing here with Bob. It was just so cool. So
Well, I remember when the first time Bob came,
mhm,
it was just after Stephanie and I's 10th anniversary, where we had just taken the kids
mm,
to Disneyland. And so it was cool because we got back and I was like, "Hey, guys, we're gonna go watch and listen to Bob Gurr, who was responsible for the monorail and basically everything with wheels
mhm,
in Disneyland. And so even though they were very young at the time, it was neat because they got to see, who one of the persons that was responsible for creating that experience. And I remember one of the things that he said when we were there was he is always asked, you know, how did you know you could do what you were doing? And he always says, we didn't know that we couldn't.
Yeah, that's how I
It
feel
was
about homeschool.
right.
When I was homeschooled, my mom would just, for those of you who didn't know, I was homeschooled until about 6th grade, and then we homeschool our kids. But when you're homeschooled and you're just, you wanna learn something, whatever it is, my mom would say, "Let's go." So we would go down to the library, we'd use the Dewey Decimal System back in the day.
Yep,
We'd
yep,
find the book of whatever it was that we wanted to do, and we would learn how to do it. And
yep,
there was never any like, I'm not sure if you can do that." It was just kinda like, "Well, cool. Yeah, you wanna learn that? Let's go down to the library. We'll rent a few books. We'll check it out and
yeah,
go from there."
yeah.
So,
So we're gonna jump back up to number 2.
okay.
What is a pivotal moment in your life that most people wouldn't know about your story?
Hmm. This is gonna sound really weird. I have not said this in any other interview, because it you phrase that question very differently than most people have. I would say that there was a critical time between junior high and high school for me. Junior high was rough. I did not like junior high.
So were you in public school
I
at
did.
that point?
Yeah, so we had a little bit of a transition family-wise, job-wise, that kinda stuff with my parents, and, I went to school first. My sisters were still homeschooled for another year, and then my sister was slightly younger. I think she went in 3rd grade, and my other sister went in kindergarten. So I was homeschooled until 6th and so on and so on. But in, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at a public junior high, it was not it was learning a lot of different things. I was fine, English, math, history, personality-wise, and super bright and cheery, and then they, like, wanted to squash it out of
Yep.
me. Public school can be a little bit much. So, I didn't care for it very much, but, I think part of that time getting squashed down did toughen me up a little bit.
Mhm.
Got in my first fights and we got in some little like micro kid war type things, where
Yep.
and you get hurt feelings and things. And I think that was actually somewhat important for me to experience. And then I had this flip side moment where I went to a theater camp and in between 8th grade year and freshman year of high school, which I was pretty reserved, quiet. I wasn't really outgoing. When I would perform music and things like that, I was very, you know,
Very mellow,
very,
very
very
emo.
like, I'm just going to be very serious about this. I'm not going to have, and then I had so much fun in that theater camp. And I remember my mom tells the story too. She's like, "You're going to go to this theater camp and whatever." I'm like, "Fine, but I'm not going to dance. I'm not going to sing. And I probably won't have any fun," or something like that. I was like, "Nah."
Right.
And then I went to the theater camp thing and I sang and I danced and I had a lot of fun.
It was
And,
the best time of my
yep,
life.
and then I started doing some things in community theater and, other events, and I started performing elsewhere, and the school that I went to in high school was an arts high school, and it was so cool. New School for the Arts. It was in Scottsdale, now it's in Tempe. But that time for me was this transition from kinda really being quiet and hurt and just kind of like solemn about things, really grumpy about not being, exactly who I wanted to be, and then all of a sudden finding a voice
Yep.
and being able to not care and just do these things that I wanted to do and enjoy people and
Yeah.
have a good time. So it was a very different transitional moment for me. Arts high school was great. I had some really good friends. It introduced me to a whole new group of misfits that was just amazing. Um, and then, kept moving forward from there. I got to learn so many good things in that school, um, on my own for the most part,
Right.
but, got to learn some really great things, so.
Well, switching back to business, I'm gonna ask you, does your motivation change from business to business? or is there kind of a fundamental or like a root, you know, reason or place that you kind of go, because they're all very different businesses. I would say
Yeah.
the two that are the most related would be the iron shop and Porter Barnwood.
Mhm.
But like most people don't go, hey, I'm gonna own a woodworking shop and then open a restaurant, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna own a woodworking shop and because usually most business owners kind of stay in their lane. You seem to go, does the motivation change?
Yeah, I am really surprised by how much I love doing the restaurant side of things. That has become one of my favorites. It was funny because all the chefs that I talked to when I was asking them all kinds of questions when I very first started, and every one of them said the same thing: "Don't do it. Why would you do this? Like, why you have so many of these other things that you do.
Right.
Why? It's so hard. It's so different." Um, but I love it. I think it's so good. I don't think you would want to do it unless you love it. But I do have ulterior motives, right? My restaurant happens to also be a showroom for
Right.
the business that I created all the stuff with. So we don't just sell coffee and food at a really high level. We're also selling the millwork package. And what's funny is we could do a millwork package for a restaurant that gross wise is more than the entire annual revenue for the coffee shop. And that would not be uncommon. So one restaurateur coming in and loving what we do, seeing what I've done, and then wanting to have that for themselves could result in, twice the revenue of the coffee shop altogether. Uh,
Well, it's kind of like your built-in showroom.
mhm,
Instead of you going, "Hey, go to Tokaya, go to, um, all the different restaurants that you've, provided for,"
mhm,
you can go, "You know what? Like, yeah, you can go check those out if you want to, but, like, come in here and see kind of what we've done with the place." So it's still kind of your showroom,
mhm.
even though prior it was where you did business. Now it's, like, the coolest part, and you can make people happy with coffee.
I have had different motives with each business. Porter Barnwood was a place where I could create a shop. I could start to build anything I felt like, and it has continued to evolve to where the tooling has changed from, our early on. I had kind of prosumer, hobbyist kind of tools, and then started graduating to industrial tools. Now we have like real industrial tools and a big workshop and a giant electrical bill. But
Which is so fun.
Oh yeah, every day. So, it was more about, like, creating a space where I could just build whatever I felt like.
Right.
And then Ironworks was very similar. It's like, I need to do metal too, so I need to do this. The block company was exploring someone else's talent at the time and then being like, "Yeah, I can see a need for that," and then creating a product A, B, C, D that's just turn out that product only.
Yeah,
Because
just do that.
Porter Barnwood is custom everything, so
Right.
no 2 project is the same, and that's fun because it keeps it different, but it also is maddening because
Right.
there's always more room for error when you're not repeating the process every time.
Right.
The coffee shop is this weird mixture of things. It's a cool place where I get to involve other people. It's much more labor heavy. Restaurants are very labor burdened, usually somewhere close to half of your costs are labor in a
Right.
restaurant. So, it's different, but, everything about it it's like catharsis in some way for me 'cause it's not the be all end all. It's not
Right.
everything to me. It just happens to be something I really love. So it's catharsis because you need to be able to hit the reset button when you're dealing with some other issue and you're like, you wanna skip for a minute and be ADHD like me anyway. I'm like, "Arr, okay, I'm gonna think about a recipe or develop something new or go out and get a cup of coffee, come back and deal with the problem in a minute once my subconscious has figured it out for me."
Yeah. What what do people get wrong about success in your opinion?
Success is a man-made term, like, altogether, like, it essentially is just accomplishing a goal. So I think one of the things that people miss is that when they think of someone as being successful, it has to do with everything they've accumulated,
Right.
right? And that really isn't the case. I find
Because you've accumulated a lot.
yeah, and that's just called hoarding. right?
Yes.
Hoarding is not success. Um, I think that one of the coolest things that has happened over the years is that there have been uh, my goals for the company. Besides making money, everyone wants to make money, right? You want to have something that actually generates revenue, not just for you, but for the people underneath you.
Yep.
So we've seen people come in, and it's kind of neat to look back and think that this whole time that we've been here, the people that have been working have paid their bills, right? They've been able to come in. Some people who learned a lot, that they started off kind of green, and then they started learning how to take care of themselves, and then ended up going out and doing something great. It's not everybody that ever worked here, but as a business owner, you feel the responsibility of making sure that you're in a good place so everyone else around you is able to take care of their families.
Mhm.
So that's a measure of success. Everyone that's worked here has been a part of it and been able to receive a paycheck and do their things. I've never bounced a check, so that's success, even though it's not a grandiose one. Um, I would say, like, from a profit standpoint, we could have been more profitable. We could have been a lot more successful than we were, but I'm always going to be critical of you know, my own goals. Every goal that I've accomplished over the years, I would consider a success. Um, but what do people get wrong about it? They equate it mostly with just amassing a fortune and making all right decisions, never a wrong one. Making it this some sort of tangible finish line that they cross, and it's just not that black and white. It's malleable. I remember we had a really cool moment when business was really struggling here. Like, it was just so difficult. We had staff issues. As soon as you hire people, you bring on all their personal drama. And I remember this one particular time when it was really tough. And I had this just magic moment that just made me feel like everything was worth it. You remember Jake?
Mhm.
So Jake and my son, I'm going to divert on
He
a
told
little
us
bit of a Christian path
he
here.
said, what was it? MDF was his favorite smell of wood.
Yeah, when he was asked what his favorite wood was, he said MDF. And then later on, I saw him. He said, "I was so dumb back then. MDF is like cardboard." So he's grown a lot as an individual.
He said it was a kaleidoscope of
Yeah. So I'm gonna let you in a little bit into the back room of business owning here, because this is to give you an idea of how rough the times were. So I had four guys in my truck with me coming back in the dually that one time that I had a long time ago.
Yep.
We were coming back from an install. I remember on the radio there was this story about a pastor who was asking for another $1.5 million on that particular day and wasn't going to let anybody out of the church until they
Yeah. Yep.
raised $1.5 million for his jet. And all the guys in the car start talking about Christianity and about money and stuff. And and they kept going, "Oh, are you Christian?" "I don't know. I'm not Christian. But, like, we're Mexican, so we have, like, Day of the Dead stuff, and, like, we're Catholic." And it was the most bizarre conversation going on in the back of it. They were talking about, "Oh, yeah, churches just want your money and blah." And it was just this bizarre conversation happening for the course of, like, 5-10 minutes. And then I'm just parking the truck into the ironworks driveway. And as I stop, uh, Alex, one of the guys in the back, goes, "What do you think, Thomas?" I was like, all right. Ugh." So I pulled out my wallet and I handed all four of them $100 bill. And I said, "I tell you what I want you to do." And they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I said, "I want you to each take this and find somebody this week that needs to be blessed. I need you to go out and find somebody who just needs that $100 this week." They're like, "What does this have to do with anything?" I'm like, "Well, you're asking me, what do I think about tithing, about what it means to be a Christian and money and stuff. And I think this is going to better show you than me just telling you." And so, like, no, I'm like, "This money isn't mine. I'm not giving it to you. Consider this God money, right? And your only job this week is to just find somebody who needs it, right? And it'll happen. It'll happen. You'll have that person in your life." So anyway, so then a week goes by. I think throughout the week, there was, a couple of the guys had come up to me and said, "Oh, I'm thinking I'm going to give it to my aunt who has a something, or I'm going to do whatever." And I'm like, whatever, guys. I don't need to know anything about it. I don't need to know where it's going or
Right.
anything, except for Jake, right? All the 4 guys are kinda, about it, except for Jake. Jake was pissed. He's like, "I'm not gonna do this. This is crazy. I don't know what you're trying to do. Like, you're trying to trick me or something. Like, this is stupid." He was trying to hand me back that money. I'm like, "Jake, you live in a trailer park in South Phoenix. Like, there's gonna be someone in your near proximity who needs $100. Is it that hard?" He's like, "Oh, no, 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 no. I don't wanna do this. It's" and he was really combative about it. And, anyway, and he would not let up. And then, I think that a couple more days passed, and he comes up and he goes, "I know what you're doing." And I'm like, "What what am I doing?" He goes, "It's like the talents, isn't it?" And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You know how the guy, he had the talents, which was like money at the time, and then he like took it and buried it, and he was the bad guy because like the other guys invested it and gave it back to the king, or you're like the king." And I'm like, "Have you been reading a Bible?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, good for you, man." And I'm like, "That's not at all what I was thinking of doing, but that's neat that you're kind of like figuring some things out." And so anyway, he was dead set he's going to give me this money back, and I said, "Look, just hold on to it. If the end of the week, if you still don't want it, I will take it back from you." And he was the only guy that was like that. And sure enough, at the end of the week, he came back. "Here you go," and he handed me that $100. He was very proud about it. Never said anything about it again. And, fast forward, uh, the 4 guys that are in my car, there was, Alex and, I won't name all the guys, so there's 4 guys. Anyway, um, one of them got fired from here because he was smoking pot on his lunch breaks and trying to offer to someone else. I told him, "You can't operate machinery here and
Yep.
and be smoking pot." And, this is pre-recreational marijuana too, so this is illegal activity at the time. You can't do that. You're putting other people at risk. And so they got real pissed, and he and his cousin went off to a warehouse, started sending pictures back on forklifts, smoking marijuana and saying, "Oh, we make more money here. We can do whatever we want," and really just being jerks about it.
Interesting.
One of the other guys ended up getting fired for stealing. He took a company credit card and was filling his truck up with gas at his home to the tune of about $700 or $800.
Alright.
Got fired, was not a cool scenario. The other one who Philip, he ended up, having a real bad scenario with his stepdad and went to a family party. Sweetest kid in the world, you would
Yep.
never imagine. Ended up, opening fire on his abusive stepdad over the years, missing him, killing another guy, ended up going to prison. He's in there till he's 65. He was 20 something years old. And the only one that kinda seemed to be unscathed was Jake,
Yep.
which I would have never guessed. He was kinda crazy.
Yeah.
Um, well, Jake, was the only one who never had any of that happen to him. And it's fast forward now that year and a half, whatever it is, and it was really rough around here. It was tough. We had some staff changeovers, that theft, I mean, all kinds of things were
Yeah.
happening. And it was like 1 in the morning, and Jake called up, on Facebook Messenger. He wrote me this, message saying, "Hey, Thomas, I don't know if you remember or not, but we did that whole like $100 thing or whatever in the car, and that was kind of a thing that really bugged me over the years."
Yeah.
He said, "But I wanted to tell you this is the first time I stepped foot in a church in 10 years, and just dedicated my life to Christ. And I want to tell you that was a part of the reason why I came here for the first time." And I would get choked up. All of the crap, all the profit, all of those things are not success, right? But the idea that someone could come in like that and find something incredible, and I'd like to think that it was me. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
It's just it's really neat. That to me is one of the most successful things that's ever happened here.
Well, and what's cool is what is Jake doing now?
Jake has kids. He's got a landscaping business. He's in Florida. He's still nutty. He's still
Well,
he's
yeah,
still
it's still
bonkers.
crazy, but
But but, you know,
but he
eh,
he's gone on to not only, accept Christ,
uh-huh,
but through that, a family has come from it.
uh-huh. One of the things that maybe people don't know is that at the time when he was younger, he was actually part of a very, very racist organization. I had no idea when I hired him, but he was a part of a small group of I would almost put them in a neo-Nazi group.
Interesting.
Crazy. Yeah, he was very, very, he was in a really bad place and has since like completely denounced that whole idea. I mean, he's a very changed person overall. Still nutty. I mean, I got a chance to work with him when we were in Florida recently, um, but as far as the success, sorry to make that so long, but success wise, that is success. It's seeing something like that come up from the ground. It's funny because it's really more like a farmer going out and spreading seed over an entire acre, and then you see one blade of grass come up, and you're like, "Yes, yes." But that is success to me, more so than any amount of money could ever be.
Well, what's something that you chased back in the day that no longer matters to you?
Mm, um, interesting. Uh, I I think I was very bent on chasing some of the big fish to see if I could, hang with developers and um, people like Disney or whatever, trying to really chase down big names, thinking that if I could just maybe get in with that person, I would feel more successful. And I'm not. I don't really do that anymore. I don't chase it. I don't have any grandiose dreams of. I don't. You and I had talked before about like trying to see if we could work in some sort of a deal with celebrities and create some sort of
Right.
a show with that, or maybe there was a time when people were approaching us about doing television shows and things like
Yeah.
that. And your house we had done at one point, thinking we might even do a television show like Chip
Well,
and
that
Joanna
that
or something like that.
that went way sideways real quick.
It did. It was really interesting to see how people thought we were versus reality. And
Well, it kinda shows you too how the reality show game
mhm.
is not very much reality at all.
No, not at all. So I guess that, the big names in the reality, maybe a little bit of that fame from it,
Yeah.
was kinda trying to chase that down in order to make things better across the board, and I don't think it would have. I'm
No, I
glad
think
I'm
it would
glad it
I would think
didn't happen
yeah,
at the time.
yeah.
So
So, let's see. We actually did 6 already. So we are going to this is gonna be my last question
okay.
because we've done them all. Um, what is a moment in your journey that completely changed how you see yourself?
Um, moment in my journey to see uh, I think probably I'm trying to think of whether it would be more, getting married, and or whether it's having kids. I think it's probably a combo right down the
Yeah,
middle. Your priorities change a whole lot
absolutely.
as a father, and I think you see the world differently when you set the kind of roots as deep as you do being a father, and then those roots are also there as a husband. I don't know anyone in this world that could chop me down faster than my wife, which is really necessary when you're a creative leader.
Yep.
You need that someone to, you know, remind you your place
Yeah.
and your importance or lack of.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know anything quite as rewarding as being able to provide and love someone so much, and then also to have kids that you're investing in show you, I mean, almost in real time, how your investment matters,
Yeah.
and to have the kids become better than you is like the ultimate father goal, right? So I think when I started out in business, I was thinking I have all these cool things that people are going to love, and they're going to love my ideas, and everyone's going to think, so many great things about me and whatever. And the shift, getting married, having kids, and then having employees and having other things to be a part of. We taught those classes at branches. You and
Yep.
I both have taught
Yeah.
classes at branches. Seeing seeing the enjoyment and the excitement and the positivity that comes from investing in your kids, or your employees or people around you, um, has changed my not only the way I view myself, but my own personal goals for what I want to accomplish. Um, a lot of the times I have to remind myself, and it helps, that I'm not doing this for me,
Right.
that I'm a very small piece of the pie. I'm just blessed enough to be able to do these things to make sure that others, especially my kids and my wife, are able to do what they need to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Is there any question that I missed or haven't asked that you'd like to?
oh gosh, I'm a talker, so I could probably come up with a million questions. But no, I think this is really neat. Thank you for the opportunity to do this, and
Yeah.
for also being one of the employees over the years that
Yeah.
was so integral. Jesse did photography here for so many years and videography and stuff, and we worked together hard. I worked really hard when we delivered that conference table to Dallas.
Heck yeah,
I
dude.
thought I was going to kill you, basically.
Oh, I thought I was dying.
Yeah,
So
not that I wanted to kill you because of, like I'm mad at you, but actually thought I was hurting you by accident. Listing that
it was a really heavy conference
it's a
table.
very heavy conference table. It was
We
just
were crazy thinking we it was to Texas
I don't think skinny
and
jeans have lifted something
yeah.
that heavy ever.
No. It was the power of God was just surging through me
Yes, it
when that happened because it was so heavy.
Yeah.
We thought, "Yeah, we'll just sleep in the truck and drive straight to Texas, and then we'll deliver it and drive straight back."
Yeah.
It didn't really work out quite that way.
It's amazing what can be done when you're really green and
Well, we had to get back home so that we could take our daughters to the father-daughter dance.
that's right. Yeah. You know what? One of
So
the even though I've had a few stinkers over the years, we've been blessed here to have some really, really neat people a part of this company, and you're one of them.
well, thank you.
Yeah, you're on my list of the nice list. But we've had some really cool people over the years. I'm so excited for you and everything you're doing, and this is really neat. So kudos to you, my friend.
Is there anything that you wanna ask me?
Oh, ask you. I
Like, as
mean,
far like, one of the ideas that I have for this is, not everybody has the means to, hire a social media person, which, by the way, thanks for basically creating this life that I do because, through Porter Barnwood, you kind of were like, "Hey, I need you to do this social media thing for me. Can you come and do it?"
I need you to do everything. Can
Yeah,
you do this?
"Can you do it?" And I
I
was like,
swear.
I said yes. Um, but over the years, like, we've learned a lot of things. Social media has ebbed and flowed and certainly changed. Are there any questions that you're like, man, social media is really weird. What could we do to do better?
I guess, yeah, if we were I'm gonna totally put you on the spot here, but,
I hope that I can answer.
you work with some cool people. You work with AFT. AFT is really I mean, they're stellar.
Yeah,
They build some really cool stuff. You've worked with several different companies around town, people in that home design and I mean, you handle a lot of social media things for people in videos.
yeah.
What is the most effective thing that business owners are doing right now that is getting attention? And I should say, are you noticing that the attention that they're getting is translating into money? Because for me, I feel like a lot of us business owners, we had to be entertainers
Right.
in order to keep an audience, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I guess, yeah, what are you seeing that's the most effective and that's garnering the most attention, and is it worth it?
So, um, putting you, the business owner, on camera is, I would say, the most important. Now, developing a desire to hear you and listen to you, whether it's like the coffee builders showing up on social media and going, so we designed this new, you know, drink or this new recipe that really blends this, and this is where it came from, and explaining it. could really help. Now, is it going to garner more money? No, but what it's gonna do is it's going to give you a more, um, authentic connection with the people that come into the shop. It's really cool when I know who the person is before we even step foot in there. One of the things is I knew that the coffee builders would be successful because the creative person that you are and all the different flavors and all the different things that you're interested in being in, this kind of melting pot of drinks and dishes, all of these different things kind of that's your personality coming out. And if you're not sharing who you are on social media, especially via the coffee builders, um, you're missing an opportunity to bring people in that may just want to know who you are. You've done a lot recently on different news spots.
Mhm.
I'm sure those will help bring in business, but the key is to try to keep people coming back. And people will keep coming back because of you and the person that you are. So if you're not putting yourself on the Coffee Builders page as frequently as, let's say, like create an episode, create like an episodic thing where like every Monday, Thomas is gonna release something on Coffee Builders, and it creates this kind of what do you call it? Um, when we were kids and we would watch Boy Meets World, it was on it was on Fridays at 9,
Yeah.
and so what were you doing you know, at 8:55 on Friday night? You were getting ready to watch Boy Meets World because you knew it was gonna be there. So how can you create that, like, cult-like following that people are gonna keep coming back because they know something is coming right away? Because we don't need to go viral. This is actually, like there's loads of social media people that are like, "You need to post 4 times a day." Like, what if you don't have 4 things to post about? Like, you're just throwing up garbage at the wall and hoping that it sticks. Like, let's be a little bit more intelligent about this. If you have something cool that comes out once a week or once a month or every other week, you're creating this, like, cult-like following of, like, what is the coffee builders gonna do next?
Mhm.
Or say you're doing something at Porter Barnwood where you're making something that you're allowed to share. And it's like this really unique piece that you're really proud of and you want to show, get on there and you start talking about what it's doing. People already know who you are with Porter Barnwood, but coffee builders may be a different story because they may not even know that you're connected. So if you created like a cult like following for you and what you bring to the table at coffee builders, that would be a wise decision.
So I'm hearing you say for any business that's looking to do this, that the business owner introducing themselves
Yep.
in a real
In a
in
real
a
set.
real manner,
Yep.
not just being fluff and pomp.
Yeah.
It's about knowing the real owner
Yep.
for who they are, and then creating something that has consistency,
Yep.
but also a quality story
Yep.
that you can share on a whatever regular basis. So,
Whatever you deem necessary, like this podcast as a whole, as I
mhm,
travel around and connect with small business owners, even though I'm doing 3 this week, it doesn't mean that 3 are gonna come out this
sure,
week.
sure.
I'm gonna stack them and I'm gonna release 1 at a time over the next few weeks, and that will be the consistency that I deliver. So I just need to choose a day, which will actually probably be Wednesday since I dropped my very first podcast yesterday.
Oh, great.
Um, it's not it's on the players. I don't know how to find it. To be honest with you, I've never uploaded a podcast.
All right.
But the thing is before we were doing videos on YouTube, I'd never loaded a video on YouTube.
Okay.
So
All right.
this is a method of learning the process and then trying to figure out how to motivate others to do the same thing. Everybody wants to do a podcast. Everybody likes the idea of it, but what it really comes down to is how consistent can you be? And really, the realistic scenario is once a week's probably a reasonable amount of time.
Sure.
If you're, especially for coffee builders, if you're showing a drink or a dish every day, or you're showing, an image of the exterior or whatever's going on,
Mhm.
like those things are going to be good. And then if you have people sharing, you know, the content within the space as they come in and they share and stuff like that, then there's gonna be this natural buzz. But then once you're on there showing people who you really are, or maybe it's Teak or Pepper or Emmy, like whoever the case may be, like you're showing the personality of who the porters are, then that will draw people in even more. And that's for small businesses, virality is not
I
necessary.
think it's tough. For business owners, I know for myself, it's always been like, ugh, I don't know if I want to spend that much on doing something. But I had a friend who used to own a bar back in the day,
Mhm.
really successful bar back in the day. And I asked him, so what was your budget like for marketing? Like he said 10%. Every business I've ever had, I spent 10% of our gross on marketing. That's a huge number. That's big for a lot of people. I mean, if you have a $3 million company, you're spending $300,000 a year on advertising. That's something else for most businesses. I
Right,
mean, if you're one of the guys that's on a billboard up here, like one of the law attorneys in Arizona, they have like a billion of these all over the state. Maybe that's a little bit different. But but as far as regular business owners, like someone who's a woodworker, spending 10% of your gross on that seems excessive.
right,
I've tried to work out that math model for myself and spend even like 5%, of our gross on that, and it can be tough. What have you done any math on that and seen what that looks like for people? Because of course, once a week, a podcast and something nice like this might be like terrifying to someone who's starting out, but then
yeah,
it could also be your make and break moment of, hey, they've created something where they've created an entertainment that people are into. And now when I think woodworking or I think uh, event, whatever the business may be, I think of that guy.
right, right. Well, so I'll say it this way. When I started doing stuff with AFT, they had, 7 custom homes
hmm
on their
He's
books.
a great example because that's immediately who my brain goes to when I think of luxury home building. I
Yep,
immediately think of AFT.
yeah, and then when we first started doing stuff, like, when we first met him,
Mhm.
when I had him come
Mhm.
to Porter Barnwood, he was he was right around 30 to 35,000 followers
Mhm.
on Instagram. Now he's at, last I looked, like 272,000.
Oh, yeah, he's grown a little.
But if you think about it, like, even if he goes viral, he can only build so many houses.
Yeah.
There's a cap, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So he's got, like, 35 customs,
Mhm.
I think, on his books now, in the works versus the 7 that he started with. So, like, that right there is a big piece of the puzzle, but that and he spends a lot of money. It's not just on me. He
Mhm.
spends a lot of money on, different photographers that he'll use. He'll use me to shoot houses, but there are times where the interior designer wants somebody else.
Mhm.
So he'll spend, you know, grips of money on different things that count as marketing, but he knows that he has to spend that money.
Mhm.
Um, when times get tough, when times are lush, like, he still knows that that money's gotta be spent because awareness and attention is most important. Um, Now in the grand scheme of a, a coffee shop going viral, is that a good thing? Likely not, because then you have disappointment of clientele. And then you also, like, when we were talking, me and Yvonne were talking, he was saying that when he ran an article or got an article in the Phoenix New Times, um, they had a massive influx of people at Fame, but none of them were the people like his target demographic. Nobody, they weren't people that were going to keep coming back. They were people that were like kind of, you know, low hanging fruit. They were just there to to try and then not they weren't gonna be consistent customers. And in small business, in, a coffee shop like yours, there's room for people to come in and try,
Mhm.
but you also want those regulars. And
Yeah,
and
I would be careful about the low-hanging fruit analogy, just from the standpoint that,
which, by the way, those were my words, not Yvonne's.
okay, yeah. I'm, I don't think it's easy for anyone to, just snag anybody to come in and buy, a coffee or breakfast or whatever it is, and I don't think, I would worry too much about the excess. Like, here at the coffee shop, we've done some really cool marketing things before, and we've created some viral moments where, on Saturday, it's an hour and a half to get to the counter, and there's a line snaking out of the coffee shop
That's
forever.
insane.
It's crazy, and we've done it multiple weeks in a row where, Saturdays, people were coming from all over because we had something unique, and they all wanted to come and experience it. People from all over the country were, like, flying in, and, like, I saw this thing that on Instagram or TikTok, and we flew in so that we could come and see this for the day, and, well, and I'm like, "This is really interesting," and I think as an entrepreneur, I'm trying to think to myself, how can we create a really cool experience for them
Right.
where, it's like a Disney ride. I mean, they're waiting in line, literally like a Disney ride when it's busy and you're waiting an hour and a half to go down Splash Mountain or the bayou thing that is
Yeah.
now. Um, so how do we fix that instead of creating a scenario where they're just pissed because they're sitting for an hour and a half? I bought these little tiny, mugs that were like itty bitty 1 ounce beer mugs, Steins, and we're getting this little buttered beer, in line to test it out. And then we had a magic wand event recently where
Yeah.
they were all standing in line to do wands, and the wood turners from local were out here turning magic wands and giving them away for free. And, every now and then you have a stinker, but a lot of people come in with a purpose. They're coming to experience something, and they may not be the person that shows up regularly at my shop, but they're typically a mouthpiece for it. They'll
Right.
if we can impress them enough to really excite them that, "Hey, this is unique, this is different, this is something fun that we got to do locally." They got to come here and see Tim Wills when he was here. He was the global director of toys for Lucasfilm,
Yeah.
and when we had our big, giant spaceship in the parking lot, and we had all these different things, there was these really cool experiences that people could come and enjoy where they don't have to enter a theme park and pay 150, $200 to go to a theme park
Right.
and see something. They're coming here to, like, just have fun and converse with each other. So I'm careful to there is a customer that you wanna create. I think we've created our customer base,
Yep.
and our main focus was to create our customer base. But it's fun to kinda dabble in the fringe and get people excited who otherwise maybe they don't visit you all the time,
Yep.
but they'll recommend that someone does the next time they're in Phoenix.
Yep. Well,
So,
dude, thanks for hanging out with me today.
thanks so much. This has been fun.
Yeah.
So,
Sure. Well, that's it. If you would love to interact with Thomas and his businesses, one, you can find Porter Barnwood on Instagram, and you could also find the Coffee Builders on Instagram. We'll link them down below, and you should come and try not the wood, but the coffee and the food
the
at the
wood
coffee.
might taste a
Well,
little
I guess
strong.
maybe if you want to cleanse your palate. But hey, thanks for hanging out with us today. And I hope you guys have a great day.
So long, folks.